Hey, hello everybody, I'm Mango Thunderslice, and today's video is car. Why women and liberal men generally can't drive, right? I wasn't even really planning on making a video today, but the freeway today is just really something, right? A real beauty, as Trump might say, and I just had to vent a little bit about the nature of different drivers and their demeanor. And I've touched on this. I did a video, freeway philosophy back at the beginning of COVID, like in March or April or something. And I'm just going to kind of elaborate on that it's like how you drive really, just like they have handwriting analysis and they have all these forms of psychological analysis where they can, more or less reliably derive facts and insights into your personality and character based off of, your handwriting, based off of your different behaviors, right? You can analyze a person's speech, analyze a person's body language. Body language is another one that, is very revealing. And the only people who learn how to falsify body language are people who are sociopaths and psychopaths, like the people who learned how to believe their own lies type thing, right? Because anybody can lie, right? Theoretically, practically, everybody can say something that is not true, but being able to truly believe something that is not true is really what we're talking about. And it's that cognitive dissonance of you might believe it with all of your heart, soul, and might, but if it conflicts with reality, you're always going to be having this friction and this struggle between what is and what you think should be. And, you should, it's not to say that we should always just align what should be to what is. We should seek to change and improve the world. But at the same time, we've got to, recognize that, again, there are things that we cannot change. And we have to have the, the temerity and the strength to understand the difference between the things we can change and the things we cannot change. And that requires a real logical attitude. Again, it is the logos that perceives truth in the storm of deception and illusions, right? It is the logos that understands the underlying structure of the universe and, that divinity that imbues it all, right? The mind of God. And if you can align your mind with the mind of God, you can know things that are far beyond your physical senses. But for the purpose of this conversation, we'll just keep it in the human physical realm. We'll just keep it in the realm of rationality, something that even the average atheist can comprehend if he's at least left his basement and stopped playing video games for long enough to, actually go and interact with nature and with, the rest of his species. But it's very much easy to comprehend how this world works in a basic form. Again, it's logic, it's rationality. All you have to do is basically learn to quiet the mind and see the facts. And, if you know basic arithmetic and you know basic language skills, you should be able to, and you're not impeded by, some overarching, psychological defect or abnormality, then you should be able to perceive the truth, right? 2 + 2 = 4. You can visualize it. It's a very simple equation. And everything, all of this logical world, to the extent that logic still exists in it, again, the physical reality, you can't remove it. It will always be there. It is all just an extrapolation of 2 + 2 = 4, of A equals A, as Ayn Rand might say. And it's conveying the same thing, that objective reality does exist. It's not to say that any particular person or philosophy has it, but that philosophies that reach toward that objective reality and seek to align with it and build alongside it and within it are generally more successful, are generally more effective and, authoritative in the world, because they have the results to speak from, right? They have their track record of success. It's like, say what you will about the Freemasons, but they did build this world. And there's a reason that, an occult group is affiliated with, Masons, who are just stone layers, right? People who just lay the stones and build structures. But there's a lot more to building a house than one might originally, apprehend at the outset, right? You have to know a lot of different concepts in order to build a house that will stand. Especially when you build large structures, you've got to be very much in alignment with that objective reality. And it's very, again, easy to do if you have that humility of spirit and you work to learn and to absorb that information and to reflect it and comprehend it on a deep level. But then there's people who are emotional, and they make all of their decisions based off of how it socially relates to others, and how it feels, and how it makes, what things it reminds them of, and, basically now today how it impacts marginalized groups, right? That's essentially our metric for whether or not something's true, is whether or not it feels good, right? It benefits the marginalized groups because historical oppression, and basically does it remind you of something nice, and does it socially serve you and your sense of power and purpose in the world. Again, in the absence, there's a God-shaped hole in the mind and the soul of the liberal, right, and the communist. They're always reaching for this greater purpose and this greater identity, and our common dream, right? And they're seeking to impose it by state decree. They need to. Their ideas are so great that they need the government's guns to go and enforce them, and take away people's basic rights in order to do it, because we know better than them, right? We know better than them in their silly Bill of Rights and constitutional freedoms, right? And God-given rights, rather, that are enshrined by the Constitution, because they are not granted by the Constitution, and why you can't take them away even if you destroyed the Constitution. We will still fight to defend our lives, and you will never stop that unless you corrupt our souls, in which case that has been their main play. Through drugs and alcohol and TV and all the different media smorgasbord, the panoply of degeneracy. That's a good one, right? That's almost a band name, Panoply of Degeneracy. But, it has corrupted the soul, and for men and for women. For men, it's made them weak. It's given them the minds of women. Again, this all comes back to the freeway, because the people who will slow down and not move out of the way for someone when they're behind you, and then when you try and pass them, they'll speed up to 90 miles an hour, or at least 80, to, basically prevent you from getting ahead of them. It is such infantile, childish behavior that I never would engage in. Maybe back when I was a liberal, I did it once or twice, but that's the thing. It was because I was being emotional. I was treating this, basically experience of all just trying to get somewhere as this emotional experience of taking out my rage against others, right? I like to drive generally, in a swift manner, and but I never hold up people who want to drive even more swiftly, even if I feel that I'm going, fairly swift already, but. So I accommodate the people who want to go faster than me, but I like to go fast, and people who don't want to go fast, they like to express that control on others by staying in front of them and not moving. And it's one thing if you're just not paying attention and people are behind you and you're just going kind of slow, but it's the people who, again, when they see that you're going to pass, they speed up. Right, they speed up in order to prevent you from passing, which is hilarious, because then I just get right behind you and I tail the shit out of you, and I make you even more stressed. To the extent that it makes you stressed. Who knows the minds of these people? It's this antagonistic game, and I don't like playing it. I just like to get where I'm going quickly, and again, I respect other people's need and desire to do that as well. But it's always women and what appear to be fat-cucked liberal men. I guess not all of them are fat, but the other two monikers hold. It's very, very just pathetic, the mentality that acts like this. Again, these are the people who are the socialists, the people who want to hold the rest of us back because they have a pissant victim mentality and a sense of superiority over others in their degeneracy and in their enemy, their meaningless excuse for a life. And, basically their meaningless excuse for a religion, which is to say democratic socialism, right? I have no respect for them whatsoever. I shall have no respect for them whatsoever, because there's nothing literally to respect. There's nothing I can even contemplate of emulating and sharing within myself, apart from the fact that we both have hemoglobin, right, in our bloodstream. And even to that, there's I'm sure a large degree in quantity and quality, right? Because the enlightened mind enlightens the body, right? You're not enlightened if you're constantly still poisoning the body, right? You're not serving God if you are if you're constantly basically smearing shit on the temple walls, right? And it's, you should treat your body as a temple. Again, I'm not a purist, but I do believe in balance in all things, to the extent that I engage in things that, are less than, advantageous to perfect health. I balance it out in other ways, and my body almost does that automatically. I think that, again, our different genetics belie different, physical evolutionary paths as well as soul paths. There's a reason that my body does not tolerate poison well, and that it will reject a lot of foods and substances and chemicals that most other people's bodies in this society just don't even seem to react to. And, that for a long time, that was my greatest source of pain and weakness. But it actually, once I realized the nature of it, it turned out to be one of my greatest strengths, that my body will not accept of substandard fuel, right? It will reject it. And so that's almost a benefit in the long term, because I end up not getting acclimated to shit and to low quality fuel. And to that feeling that comes along with it, that feeling of sluggishness, of just laziness, of dull, fog-minded, sort of just mediocre intelligence and reactiveness, right? That's not the state that I want to be in. That's not the state that I'm supposed to be in. And I would hope that, you who have stuck around the channel, think in this way as well. And that, again, it's not like we need to be, Puritans, but we should always understand that that is a virtue, to have a sound mind and a sound body. Right, and again, these people who believe that all moral values are relative are the people, the liberals and the commies. They generally are hideous. They generally, they have their paid slaves in Hollywood, right, which are, beautiful by artificial decree for the most part. Look at some of the tabloid photos of them without makeup, and, you see exactly what they look like. They look like anybody else, but with a bunch of lights and makeup and, computer graphics, they can do a lot to people, right? And I just want to reiterate that to all the people in this world who are looking to live competently and get to where they're going as fast as they want, and let everybody do the same, and we'll all obey a set of rules that we agreed to in the beginning, then I'm right there with you. And, basically, so to speak, I'll always let you pass, and, I'll never crash into you. But, to the people who just want to control others and stand in front of their, success and their development, because you feel this little desire to control others, because you feel meaningless in your own life, or whatever the reason is. I'm not going to psychoanalyze every single person in the world, but it seems to be a very common psychology, and it seems to be very much aligned with a political philosophy, if you can call it a philosophy, right? Because it's really just the will to power by other means. It is the will to power by means of deception, right? By means of deception, thou shalt do war, is the motto of a certain intelligence agency. But in any case, that's my video today. Be a high energy particle. Be in the upper orbitals of energetic experience on this planet, and just be aware and be alive and be responsible for your actions, and look out for your be your brother's keeper. And but when it comes to the pissants who want to hold you back, just fucking put the pedal to the floor, my friend, and get around that fucker. And that's my video today, right? Official driving advice from Mango Thunderslice, right? Disavow. All right, hope you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.